Yesterday I wanna run away. I think I'll go back to that place I stay. Play on the server the TimeShot way.
Hello, people. It's Poe, and we're back in TimeShot, on TimeShot, and it's been a while, hasn't it? I have not recorded a. Actually, it probably hasn't been all that long for you guys. The latest episode prior to this of TimeShot, I actually recorded like when 1.17 was released, and then like proceeded to just not upload the content for like weeks afterwards, which I apologize for. I don't know what comes over me in that sense. I always have that happen. Ugh, this ugly podzol ground now. Anyway, I don't know what came over me. It was basically the case of well, this happens often actually lately, where I'll have lots of stuff recorded, so like it's not for a lack of content, but I just for some reason just don't find the time to upload it as regularly as I probably should. So that's on me. And this is one of those cases where, man, it's been I was going to say, like, if I could hoe the ground and then it turns itself back to dirt after a while and then it would turn to grass. But no, you can't do that. Can I? Okay. Can I? Okay. That's going to be my... Okay, so I have to right-click all of this, make it into path. Why do I even care? We're out in the middle of nowhere. So make this path, and then I have to go and right-click it with the hoe, and turn the hoed ground. It'll turn itself after it realizes it has no water. Oh my god! See, it's working. Just go slow and onto the grass here. Okay. Yikes. Anyway, I find myself apologizing a lot in these videos, and that's, I guess, not really the intention. It's just a matter of, you know, I've been saying since I began YouTube and doing YouTube videos, creating content, that, man, this shovel, what the heck? One click and it's breaking blocks. Since I began doing YouTube, I've been basically saying, like, I'll do better. I gotta do better. I gotta dedicate myself more time to doing this, and I enjoy doing it when I'm doing it. But I don't know. It's almost like, not a chore, but it's... If I have even the most minute thing that I could otherwise be doing... I typically then do that thing. So I've been playing a ton. It's so embarrassing, but, well, it's not really embarrassing, I guess. I've been playing a ton of No Man's Sky, which I know that game, when it came out, it had such horrible reputation, and I even made a very scathing review on Steam, and my review has since been deleted. But basically, I made a scathing review on Steam, and it had like lots of like thumbs up basically on Steam. Basically, people who say like, yes, this was a helpful review. So like, I influenced people not to buy the game, and fair enough. Like, the game, as we all wanted it to be, was like, you land on a planet and it's basically like Jurassic Park simulator. Well, that's not what happened. And then we realized, oh, like, it's not multiplayer at all. And the biomes are all the same. They all kind of suck. And, you know, there was a lot to be said. And I don't take it back. I think I was accurate when I said that the game was basically released too early. It wasn't ready. 5 years have gone by. Okay, so don't feel too old, but 5 years have gone by since that game first released. And if you haven't played it, like, I would actually say now, having now recently spent, I've spent probably about 30 or so hours recently in the game. And if you think about it, consider this, like, any AAA title that you buy, you know, the latest, I don't know, what's a AAA title name? Call of Duty? The latest Call of Duty game. Now, I'm an indie game player. Give me a break. But if you get like a new indie game or a new AAA game, like maybe one of the new Assassin's Creed games, or like one of the new Call of Duty games, or anything by an actual game publishing company, Microsoft or Epic Games, or you know, anything like that, you're about to spend about 10 hours, roughly 10 hours from start to finish beating a game. And that's really if you like take your time. You're not like a completionist necessarily, but like you take your time, you beat the game, you maybe do a few side quests, side missions, anything that comes along. You know, typical playthrough of the game from start to finish. Heavily focused on the main quest, you know. About 10 hours is typical. And this is what I've found over the years. That if you buy a AAA game, you're going to spend around 10 hours on your first playthrough. And it's just sort of how it goes. So the fact that I've recently spent like 30 hours in No Man's Sky is pretty telling. That's like playing an entire game 3 times over. And it's really interesting because they've added storyline elements that weren't there before. They've added multiplayer, really good multiplayer actually, that wasn't there before. They have a creature system, so you can have pets that you find walking around those planets. The biodiversity is much increased. You can actually find dinosaur-esque creatures if you look hard enough. They're still not abundant, but they're there. And yeah, I've just been really, really, really obsessing over it and enjoying it. And what the heck? Where did he? Anyway, I've been playing it a lot, needless to say. And so doing this game, like vanilla Minecraft, has not even remotely come to mind. I have no fireworks. I must. Please tell me I do. Let's sleep. Anyway. 8 minutes in. I wanted to... 4 fireworks. I wanted to spend the majority of this video actually talking about a different subject. And that was... well, something that came to mind after... Let's get way up here. Okay, and now mark it right at the horizon. And I think we're going to head... Yeah, we're heading back towards spawn, and I'm really hoping that my fireworks glitch out. If this is all new terrain, which it should be because none of it's loaded, then we should be able to fly around here for quite a while without landing, which is my hope, with 2 more fireworks. If I can make it 3,000 blocks, that'd be great. But you guys are going to be staring basically at this blue sky for a second here, so bear with me. Oh, hold on. I just realized you might see a black flash for a second. Hold on. Oh, no, you don't. It widened a little bit. I went widescreen. I didn't have it full screen. Topic that came up from reading, I guess, some feedback from viewers. I get it fairly regularly, which is so rewarding. And oh, we're about to load in the world here. I see it. But anyway, feedback that I get regularly is positive, like feedback from people saying like, "Hey," and I'm not quoting anybody, but like generally it'll be like, hey, I grew up with your content. It impacted my life in X way. 9-10 years later, you're an old man. I'm an old man. I'm an old lady, whatever. And we're all old now. So much time has passed. I digress. But you changed my life. You impacted my life. You mattered to me. And I'm like, those are so rewarding, those kinds of stories that I get. And I always say, like, a lot of them always start with the words, like, hello, poet, you're probably never going to read this, but, like, and that's how the majority of them end up, or how they begin. And I find it so funny because I can't reply to all of them. I don't have the time to reply to all of them. Well, that's probably not true, but I just put them off and then forget about replying, and it gets as out of hand as these videos. But I do read them, obviously. I read every comment that comes my way that has that kind of a sentiment to it and is sent in the appropriate channels. So let's just say, like, Twitter or email, or even on Discord to a point. And one of the things that really touched me was a recurring theme in that, my old TimeShot videos, so not so much my new ones. What the heck is this? Oh, we're at spawn already. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is cool. I got to check this place out. Apparently Spacey has been doing crazy amounts of work building a pathway around here somewhere. I'll check that out. But anyway, where was I? One of the recurring themes that I see repeated over and over again, in that, my content impacted people's lives, which is a pretty heavy thing to say. I can't say if it's true or not. That every individual have to speak for themselves. But one of the recurring themes is that, like, my content was always positive. My old TimeShot content, we used to dive into, like, really reflective content, deep thought content. So I might bring up a subject like, I don't know, what's a sort of a touchy subject, but like bullying, for example, is one of the ones that I enjoyed touching upon and talking about how it impacted me, how it might impact you, how you can potentially deal with it. And man, what is it? Turtle Farm? Turtle Farm. Anyway, like, that's an example, but like various topics like that where we just chat. And I've got to admit that season 2, season 3, but like both seasons were very heavily focused upon building a lot in TimeShot. Not a bad thing, obviously. What? Hi. How are you? I'll never forget when Code put one of these in my base. Yep, there it goes. Where's my milk when I need it? What? Anyway, what is all this? I don't get what any of this is. A poor dolphin. Oh. Please do not wear Thorn's armor. You're right. What? I think this is achievement hunting. Yeah. I think this is all achievement hunting stuff. Blah, blah. Milk. Ooh. Don't mind if I do. Alright. Where was I at? Oh, say, so, oh, God. The milk is useless. Where was I at? Okay, so I used to do all these talks, and admittedly I don't do them as often. I sort of shied away from them quite a bit. And it's sort of, for more personal reasons than anything else. But, like, I'll give you a few reasons, I guess. I can cover some topics. Why I don't necessarily go through these kinds of talks anymore is because largely YouTube was, oh my goodness. YouTube was largely flagging videos and reducing views and even demonetizing videos that go into various topics. So that in itself was fairly scary. Apart from that, I don't think that's supposed to be here. Oh, I got mining fatigue still. For how long? 4 minutes? Okay, hold on. We're gonna get another bucket of milk somewhere. I have a bucket, right? No, I don't. All right. I'll find it. So demonetization is one thing. I didn't want to alienate. So, like, my views are fairly neutral all around. Whether it's like political view or whether it's like a religious view, or whether it's like a educational view, or so on and so forth. Like, all of my views are fairly neutral. It's not that I can't make decisions for myself or anything, but, like, I have always pushed myself to view all set. Do you give milk? You sounded. You enjoyed that too much. She, better be she. Are these guys afraid constantly? I hear them scurrying when they're not moving. Okay, get back to the nether here. My views have always been fairly neutral, and I didn't want to, like, let's say, make a video about a certain topic and then have it offend anybody. And not so much, I'm not afraid of offending certain people, but, like, I don't want people to be uncomfortable, and that's just sort of the way. That's all sort of part of, maybe why these days I get some comments saying, like, hey, I really enjoyed your content. It really helped affect me in a great way, yada, yada, yada. Because my content was so wide-reaching. It wasn't specifically targeted to a certain demographic or a group. Love what Spacey did with these, too. Spacey did this also. I love it. They were just free-floating before, which is actually how I originally envisioned it, but I really like it. And these towers, which I made, looking better than ever. I sort of still wish that I could come up with a better idea for the floor here, but I think for now, this is fine. Things spawn on it, which is okay. Oh, these lava spawn. Bokodo. Alright. Get me out. Get me out. There we go. I like the stair blocks here, too. Not bad. There's a bed. No. Get rid of that. Yeah. Don't want to tempt anybody. The end. Oh, look at these blocks. Oh, what is this block? Respawn point. Set. A respawn anchor. I've never actually seen one. Wow. Alright. Now I gotta go back to the overworld and reset my spawn again. But anyway. I guess basically I just never wanted to offend anybody with the content that I created. I wanted it to be as open as possible to everyone. to not have any like religious overtones, not have any political overtones, because I've always, again, pushed for people to think for themselves, come up with their own decisions in life in general. And I mean, that's sort of why I, again, shied away from making content that would be specific to like my opinions. And that's my choice. That's how I've always made content. Well, I mean, more so now than before, obviously, but that's sort of why, anyway, I'm making the content that I am. And hopefully that explains it. But I wanted to get back to it to a point. So the comments that are made, the ones that are so rewarding, are about the content that I would now shy away from, you know? So, like, for example, the bullying thing, there's nothing wrong with me saying that. And I can even be from a neutral standpoint saying doing a topic like bullying and how it could impact your life and how you should not let it affect you and so on. But like if I were to touch upon any world events, recent world events, you know, regardless of the potential for being demonetized, I don't want to alienate anybody either, and I don't even want to. Here's the other thing too, not just from my standpoint, alienating people, but I know that when I bring up a topic, and this has always been the case, it's too tempting for people in the comments. And I can even say to people, like, I don't want to hear negative opinions about this. I don't want to see this in the comments. No talks about this. Yeah, no, you'll still see it. You'll still see it all the time. And it'll be essentially like flame wars, they call them, right? Like people in the comments alienating each other. And I don't want that either. You know, my comments are supposed to be for positivity and discussion that either has to do with the video or with, you know, some positive note to it, but not attacking each other, not contradicting other people, not even like debating friendly. That's not what it's about. That's not what those comments are really for. There are forums and there are places for that kind of a thing. The comments of my videos have never been that place for them. And I've gone so far as to delete entire chains of comments from people arguing back and forth just to say that, like, this is not the place for it, guys. So, you know, take it elsewhere. And I guess, like, that inability to moderate it frequently also aided to me not creating content like that anymore. But I need to find some kind of a happy medium, right? So, like, if I can figure out a way that I can... Look at this new path here. It's got the new caves and cliffs. Whoops! I didn't realize it would destroy it so fast. Caves and cliffs update blocks, which I really like. Oh, look at this. I feel like I'm in modded Minecraft. Yoink. Glowberries. Really awesome. Can I plant this somewhere? It like hangs. Can I not? Oh well. I don't know how this works. I know this has been a fairly long video, basically talking about, you know, making more videos, but I want to get back to that sort of thing where I think he updated the that tower's probably part of it. So like if I go down here, let's go down here and see. Eh? Stand here and smack them. Oh, sorry. Didn't know someone was in here. Occupado. Oh, this looks nice. What was that noise? What's the clicking? Oh, they're bumping up against this. Okay. I don't know what that other... There was like a building over here. Hold on. Let's go up this way. There was a structure... There was a structure over here. I don't know what it was, though. I can't find it now. Anyway, getting back to the video. I want to get back to doing heartfelt content again. There's a cat just randomly down here. Okay. So I guess my ask to you all is on topics. So like, what kind of topics would you like me to talk about? Nothing's off the table as far as topics go. Of course, that's for me to then determine if I want to talk about it or not. I think, for example, considering how impactful my talk on bullying is, you know, coming of age, growing up through school, losing my best friend to suicide, to, you know, getting married, moving to a different country, you know, there's a number of different things that I can talk about, which I would consider myself fairly, you know, it impacted me directly. So I think, you know, those would be very easy for me to talk about. And then, like, you know, other things where I just would have an opinion on them. I don't know what an example might be, but like, if it hasn't happened to me, but like I see it happen to others and I have an opinion about that, I can, you know, preface those kinds of videos by saying, like, this is my idiot opinion. And, you know, obviously people who have gone through it would be a better source of information than me. So, you know, take my comment with a grain of salt. Anything's on the table. So I'd like you guys to leave some comments. If you can, ask me for some topics. And yeah, I'll just basically, I guess, do the same sort of thing like I was doing now. Is like the standard bounce around the map, don't actually do any content. Bounce around and talk, which is, you know, a lot of people in the past said that my videos, they would be doing other things. They would be working in Minecraft themselves. They'd be doing homework. They'd be doing whatever, and they would podcast them, right? So like, that's sort of what sparked the whole mindless mining thing, and I would like to do that for sure. I mean, I don't have a podcast. TimeShot podcast was created, I think, 3 different times and failed 3 different times. You know, I don't know if TimeShot necessarily is even the best medium for it, I'll be honest, but like, we'll start with TimeShot, and you know, if I have to spin up my own sort of like poet instead of poet plays, poet talks or something like that, where we can just discuss topics, do it in like a podcast sort of format. I am very happy to put my experiences out there and my opinions out there, especially if it helps someone down the road. You know, 10 years later, they don't realize it when they're hearing it the first time, but 10 years down the road, when I get those comments saying like, hey, it's been 10 years and I just want to say that, like, I realized how much your videos impacted me. What the heck? What is all of this? Tort? This is Tort stuff, isn't it? Feels like it. Oh, he's got this other little pathway this way. Hello. Ooh. Doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah, so I'll leave that door open. You let me know what your thoughts are. And if you don't have any opinions, that's fine too. You know, just say like I look forward to seeing what other people come up with. And of course, you know, building and stuff will still be a factor. Gathering blocks, doing all the usual TimeShot. Oh crap! TimeShot stuff. Oh man. Whoops. Sorry, Tort. I broke your pumpkin. It'll all be part of it still. I'll kind of take it from there. So with that, we'll see you guys next time, and hopefully a meaningful TimeShot coming up next. See you guys. Bye-bye.